Hey, what's up? Welcome back. It's another week of the Dirty South podcast here with Ward Wrestling, Brant, Cabra Wrestling, Jason,
Yes.
SC Wrestle, and welcome back. Man,
Yeah, man.
how was your week, guys?
Um, Not bad. Not bad. My fantasy football team looks pretty good. I'm doing okay. College football's back. It was kind of fun to watch some games this past weekend. Obviously Super 32 early entry tournament over in Georgia. I don't know, September's busy, October's busy, and then we just start the season. So, it's just there's a lot going on. And I mean, I'm just me, but Brant's got like the horde of Parsons down there, so he's going in 10,000 directions, I'm sure.
Oh
Oh yeah,
man,
it's crazy right now. I would say my fantasy football team won two. They beat Texas 14-7. Um, Heading to Tallahassee this weekend for my oldest daughter, first college trip. So we're excited about that. She's got a lesson with the head of the percussion department. So it's her first time in
we
Tallahassee.
got the
Which I
follow
know
up.
breaks Dan's heart, breaks my wife's heart. She's like, I'm going to hate Florida State because she wants her to go to UCF.
We've got
Yeah,
the
I was wondering
FAWA
about
team.
that.
Yeah, we've got the FAWA Team Florida meetings this weekend. If you're a coach that hasn't signed up, sign up. There's going to be a lot going on there. That'll be
Cool.
fun. My younger son turns 17 Saturday, so I'm excited.
Dang, you're old, dude.
Yes. And all I got to say, it's all about the U beating
Oh
Notre
my God.
Dame. And
Talk about a
uh,
fantasy
uh,
team.
uh,
You know what?
uh,
I hope they lose to somebody so I don't have to hear it all
yeah.
season
Uh,
long.
oh,
It happens every
and,
year. The U is
yeah,
back, and then all
and
of a
they
sudden they
may,
lose to
and they may,
Duke or
but I'm
something.
always
It'll
excited.
happen.
I'm always excited. I'm always excited. You know, it's like,
The U is back, and then the U is in the And
uh,
then we'll be back next
uh,
year.
yeah. And then Ohio State will hire another cheating coach and win the whole thing.
I think you're talking about that team up north as far as
Oh, before we get into it, I do want to see if we got any feedback on Brant's
yeah.
follow.
It was there Ward at
Did you?
wardwrestling
Yeah, but did you
whatever
guys
that email
happen?
was.
Yeah, Ward at Ward Wrestling. But before we get into that, did you guys happen to watch the RAF?
I watched a little bit of it. Yeah.
It was
I
really,
did not.
really fun. There was moments that I think got a little WWE-ish, but
Yeah.
but the wrestling and the process and the lights and everything that went on, I thought was amazing. I thought it was great for wrestling, and I thought it was cool to see Holly Holm come out and try.
Oh no, that was so cool. Like it was so cool that somebody who I mean, wasn't a wrestler, like didn't. I mean,
Yeah,
that wasn't her background to come out and compete and that sort of thing. I think she stepped in for Kennedy Blades,
yeah. I mean, Kennedy
and
Blades would have smoked that girl, but the girl was a two-time Mexican world champion. It's not like she sucks. She's really
no,
good. And Holly Holmes, I mean, she caught her in a cow catcher. If she would have known to get her hand around the head, it would have been over. Or sit out, sit out and hold the un. But she didn't. She just was fighting like for her life. So she just
well,
put her over.
before we jump any further into that, I just made a post last night on Facebook about a shout out to Dylan Fairchild, who played at the University of Georgia, who was a two-time Georgia State champ, and he's now an offensive lineman for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I made this post, and it's weird because you make this post and you like shout back out to all the football players who wrestled. Ray Lewis back in the day. Talking about the U, right? I can't do that. I like can't bring myself to do that. Roddy White, who was a three-time South Carolina state champion. John Hanna, for those old heads, who was a wrestled at Baylor and actually wrestled at the University of Alabama with Bob Walker for a period of time. And I was just kind of going through them, and that post is like huge. Like people love to talk about all the wrestlers, all the football players who have competed and wrestled and everything else, and it's pretty cool to look back at the number that went on to the NFL. I mean, do you guys know the story of Stephen Neal? Dan, you know the story of Stephen Neal, right?
Remind me. If you remind me, I'll remember.
So Stephen Neal didn't wrestle in college. Was a three-time NCAA champion. Went and was recruited to or signed to
Yeah,
play
he didn't
football
wrestle in
for.
He
college,
He
didn't.
did
He did.
not. Or no, he
and he
wrestled in
still
college. He
won
did.
three. That is
No, no,
He
no,
impressive.
no.
didn't
I
play
know, I know, I
football.
know. He wrestled in college. He did not play college football.
Okay,
And
I was
he
like,
went on
wow.
to the New England Patriots, where
Yes,
he was like a three-time
I
Super
do
Bowl
know
champ.
that story. Yes, I remember that
So
story. See, I knew if you reminded me, I'd remember.
there you go.
It's
You
amazing
know
how that
what? That's
happens.
just the way things work now.
All right,
Um,
so Brant Parsons,
yeah,
five preseason
I surprisingly,
previews of five teams. I did hear, I heard a few mixed emotions, but I think for the most part we got really good feedback. Except we did get a message from New Smyrna Beach that said you always screw them. So thank you for that message.
I've not been shy to say I messed up on them last year. I believe I sent them a whole bunch of stickers. If I didn't,
Yeah.
right, reach out to me. Yeah. Well, if we got any bad messages, you didn't forward them to me.
No, I try not to. No, I was
Hey, I
the only one. The only one I saw was that one, and it's good. I mean, hey,
but
I hope
but it was
Newsom.
what, an hour later that Brant got on the phone with Coach
yeah, yeah.
Pardo.
So 3A
Yeah.
is already laser tight at the top between the three teams I believe that are going to compete for the title, and we have this whole conversation. We're talking about Southridge, and uh, I for those who don't know, which shame on you, but I'm working on the season preview round the clock. I mean, any free moment I have, which, as Jason said, it's not as many as you'd think with five kids, but um, so I'm in interview mode now with some of the coaches who got me their information early, and I talked to Coach Pardo at Southridge probably within an hour of us finishing, and he informed me that Ryan Merritt had accepted a scholarship to Ole Miss. He has enough credits to already be graduated, and he is heading off in December to enroll at school, and he'll get spring practices in, and they love that in football. And I mean,
So
I kind of knew that was
does that
coming, but
swap your
I
one and two?
what's that?
Does that swap your one and two?
I don't know if it does. I'd have to redo the math, but it makes it tighter. And it's just and it's like 25 to 30 points that you felt were pretty slam
Solid.
dunkish.
Yeah,
That's the other thing. Like
I don't think he
you're
would.
not just losing someone who I have ranked number one. You're having someone who's done it and should do it again.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, Coach Pardo was so thrilled for him, and uh, Ryan Merritt is part of the reason he came there because Umberto is his father. He's the principal, I believe, or dean at Southridge, and knew they had these kids coming up and wanted him to coach them. And he's like, when he got there, he's like, your son won't be here as a senior. Oh no, he'll wrestle as a senior. He's 6'5", 315, and he's got a full ride to play at Ole Miss. So congrats to him, and talk about football players and wrestling.
that's right.
But that does change the 3A team race.
I did.
Makes it
I
even
also got
tighter.
a phone call from George Jenkins. They said they're going to make a nice banner up on the wall, and they're going to put the top 15 teams, and they're going to highlight them as 14. And they're going to put an arrow that says, "This is what Brant thinks we are." They're going to put it up on the wall, and they're going to motivate their team all year. And I
All
said,
right,
this is why he does this stuff. So to New Smyrna Beach, to
put it
George
up.
Jenkins, I hope that you are at our media table, lined up,
Yeah.
asking Brant for stickers, because
And just to be fair, George Jenkins isn't ranked anywhere yet. There are no official rankings for preseason until November 10th, but
That's
they can
right.
they can put wherever I put them.
so he
I'll
may
send it.
think,
I'll send him my logo too, so I make sure I get some branding.
yes. So don't make the banner yet. You don't know where you're at.
All sorts of brands. It's all about branding.
Oh,
There's
man.
no bad publicity
Well,
unless you're
one
with.
of the things that's so helpful for us, I think, and I'm going to go back in time as I always do and talk about years ago. There weren't as many. I mean, the Super 32, big Super 32, didn't start until the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, you know, the there might have been this small little tournament in Florida, or this small little tournament in Florida, but there was nothing like what's going to come up in a week and a half at the Florida Super 32. There's nothing like the Georgia Super 32 qualifier that just happened. There was nothing like Elite Eight. There was none of these things. And all of these things so inform in what weight kids are going to wrestle, who's been form, who looks good, from wrestling this summer. Dan and Brant were just having a conversation about the girls' rankings because we're going to talk about the girls' Florida Super 32 later. And Dan's like, I don't understand how you don't have this girl on it. I saw her all summer. She was doing great, blah, 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 blah. So I want you guys to know that, these preseason events are super important.
Well,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
one
the
thing that
two
I
things
would
that.
like to say in Brandt's defense, and
Oh, okay.
we heard it on game day this weekend, when all these teams were playing and teams
I
were.
thought you were gonna say I put on the Brutus head, but go on.
No, they said, these rankings that are done in preseason is basically just based on what we saw last year. We know nothing about this year. So they're about as they said, they're fun, but they're also a little worthless. You know what I mean? Like they were saying, okay, this is our
Okay, I
guess.
thought he was defending me, but he used the word
No,
worthless.
no. No, but this is Brandt's best guess on what happened last year and what's going into this year. And we may see a lot of things change next week. Also, I mean, I went through all the girls this that are at the tournament and all the girls' rankings, and I've been trying to go look at stuff that you guys do to try to just get myself in line when I go out to these tournaments. And yeah, I mean, coaches, I went through this and there's probably 30% of these kids that he has in a different weight than you have them signed up at because he hasn't heard from you. So if he
Right.
heard from you and he's guessing the weight they're going to be at and he's
No, no,
wrong.
no. I don't guess at any weights.
Oh, sorry.
That's why they aren't in those weights. Everybody stays in the weight class that I had them in at postseason until it changes, unless
There you go.
you've wrestled Fargo, you've wrestled NHSCA, you've
And you
wrestled
know.
what you'll
Some other
wrestle
thing.
at Super
Hmm.
But
32,
yeah, so it's a great
Disney.
fun thing. I love that he puts out these guidelines for us as fans to look at and see. But yeah, it'll all become more solidified once we get past the next few
And
weeks.
I do keep them up to date over the summer. But not everybody wrestles over the summer. Not everybody wrestles each other. But Super 32 early entry has become one in Florida, especially where there's a lot. You see a lot. You see not just where kids, uh, how they've grown or not grown, but also you'll see kids who've been doing stuff this summer, and you're like, whoa, okay, they're better. Um, so yeah, so all my rankings they change every week right now. They're so dynamic because I'm up to 46 emails from or 46 forms from coaches. So appreciate coaches that take time to fill it out and give me insight on their team that only they have. Uh, None of these coaches have media relations people that do this work for them, so I appreciate their time doing it, and how they'll wrestle in a little over a week and a half at Osceola, and then if they some of them move on and wrestle at the end of October. But that's really all I'll know until you get
It's true.
maybe some weight assessments in your first weekend. I mean, week
And,
one is when we really learn what everybody
and because I
may
really
weigh.
focused on the girls' side, because I knew coming into here we were going to do Georgia, this girls, there's a lot of little girls on this list that are middle school or
Yeah.
just getting to high school that I've seen wrestle that are really tough. We may see them jump up, we may see them surprise some people, but yeah, these are all things that we're going to learn through the next couple of weeks.
No doubt. No
It's fun.
doubt.
It's a
Well,
fun time of year.
all right.
So you
So
were at Georgia. You were
I,
in
I,
Georgia. You got to go.
I actually did not attend. Just to give everybody a heads up, I had some challenges this weekend, so I was not there. But I was in contact with a number of different people who were there, and followed along with everything that happened. And I'll tell you what, it was just like Florida. It was a lights out tournament. I mean, we are talking some interesting matches, some interesting things that played out. And one of the things that's really interesting about Georgia as compared to Florida is that Georgia wrestlers, you have a stud incoming freshman. That stud doesn't get to wrestle at the Georgia State tournament before their freshman year.
Yeah.
So, imagine not seeing Giovanni Tovar until for the first time last year, or imagine not seeing Giovanni Solis, until last year, or whatever the case is. So there's some studs, and one of those I'm going to start off with him is Isaac Jung at 113 pounds.
I have a quick question before you go deep into
Yeah,
Georgia. Now, if some may not know this also, but Super 32 early entry is the top four able to get the
they're
early
able to
entry
register early.
code for Super 32. But if you place as a state placer, then you don't need the code for Super 32. How how many state placers does Georgia have? Because Florida, there are quite a few state
Mhm.
placers that use this because it's one of the few times that you can have this level of talent in state that show up. How on Georgia did you see a lot of state placers, or is this like your 5 to 20 in weight classes going at it?
Yeah, so it's similar to Florida in that you get weight classes that are like, ooh,
Right.
that's a good weight. That's got some studs in it. Last year you had a Ryan Mills who ended up being a world champion who was competing down at 106 pounds. You had Taquavius Mills who was wrestling at the same weight, and Cody Clark and all those kids from Roundtree were competing. Antonio Mills, who ended up winning Fargo, was at last year's Georgia Super 32. But I will say, one of the things that's really exciting about it is you get some of these, but then you also, because there's two things. Number one, because of the location of Georgia, you pull a couple of the kids from the panhandle of Florida
Right.
up. You pull a couple of kids from Alabama and Tennessee and South Carolina and North Carolina. And unlike Florida, which is what it is because it's so much further to go down to Florida for many of the other kids in the Southeast, it has much more of a Southeast flavor. You get many more, matchups of top rated kids. So I'm going to take 132 as an example. 132 was won by Jasper Kroom out of Florida, wrestled lights out, but
Yeah.
he beat Garrison Raper from North Carolina in the finals. Gianni Batone out of South Carolina is one of the top 132 pounders in the Southeast, in my opinion. Mitchell Rowland for North Carolina took fourth. Out of those four weights, a Georgia kid didn't play, or out of that weight, a Georgia kid didn't place in the top four. But then you flip to another weight, and there's Georgia kids all over the place that are studs or returning state champions and everything else. So kind of what you'd expect, kind of hit or miss. You get up at 215, 285, and a lot of kids are playing football, and
Yeah.
that's just the way that works. But I'll tell you what, it was interesting to watch. Jung, that the freshman out of Morris Fitness, he is a stud. He beat some really, really good kids at 113. And I'll tell you what, you look down the line. I think probably one of the best weights, in my opinion, was 126 with Samuel Combs out of Tennessee, who beat Gabe Easy, who was a knockout finalist last year. He lost it in the finals at 106. He took second to Combs. Noah Brown, who I just think is unbelievably talented, he came in third. So you're talking about, again, some studs. But one of the things I really like about this is that you have kids from all over the place. And one of those kids was from West Side Wrestling Club down in your guys' neck of the woods. I mean, not very far at all. Right? That's Winter Springs,
Real
right?
real
Is that
close to real close
Winter
to where.
Springs, yeah, right here.
and Jacob Rodriguez, man. And you both know how good Jacob Rodriguez is. He what placed last year at knockout and that sort of thing. But he had to go to overtime. He went to overtime to beat a Georgia State placer in Bo Davis. An Alabama State champ, Drew Adams, was fourth at that weight. Finley Smout from Tennessee was third at that weight. So again, you just have some real studs. But I always love this is the part that I think is really cool is you really like to see the kids that you don't really know where they kind of fall in the pecking order. I mean, like go back to last year's Florida Super 32, results, and Brant was sharing those with us. you look down the line and you got EJ Solis wrestling Jace Paradon in the finals. Okay, that I mean at 144 pounds, that's awesome. But then you
Well,
got,
you had Eric Hodge placing fourth
yeah,
in a state
right,
champ. I mean, so
right,
there's something like that.
right. But then you also have like a Gavin Cohen, who I wouldn't even really put Gavin in the same, same line as EJ and Paradon, but he ends up taking third at that weight.
Yeah.
Those are the types of things that you love to watch, you love to see.
Well, talking to you, I know. Oh man,
His stocks are
from
down.
It's
His stocks went down.
it's the U.
It's
They
the
uh,
already
you.
lost. They're not back already.
man, you mentioned a couple kids like from up there by Gold.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, like
I think Garrett Ferguson and some kids from up there, some the Cohen.
Garrett Ferguson had a good tournament,
And that the Loach had a really good tournament. I was trying. Sorry, my son was texting me. Sorry, but I
Is
was
he
like,
okay?
yeah, he's good. But I was, anytime,
Did he text you the U is back?
that was the other night.
Oh, okay.
So Deloach, I mentioned that young eighth grader or now ninth grader, Isaac Jung. Jung beat Deloach at 113. And we all know how good Code Deloach is.
Hmm.
And to see Isaac Jung, I think he beat him 11-3. Like, I mean, those are the types of things like you just love to see that. For me, the
Oh, Koa,
surprise though
you
from
mentioned that Koa had a great run though. There, beat some good kids.
yeah, he did. He beat some really good kids to get to I think the championship quarters before he then fell into the consies. But one of the kids that again, we pay attention to is Kingsley Mincer,
Yeah, for you.
and he keeps popping up at different places and wrestling well and kind of doing things, and I love to see different kids pop up and do really, really well. But he came all the way up from Orlando to compete at the Super 32 for Georgia as well.
Yeah, and you see, I mean, and we saw a multitude of kids go 2-2, 1-2, 2-3, 3-2. Um, it's good. They
Yeah.
get up there, they can get that one in first, and if they like, they can come down and get this one in and
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
over.
well, and the other thing that we see, I think that's pretty cool, is that we have more Southeast flavor in Georgia than we do down at the Florida one. But we always get a kid or a couple of kids from Ohio and Illinois. I mean, I think it was last year's Florida Super
Illinois
32,
had an
a
Illinois
champ, right?
invasion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the same thing happened at Georgia Super 32. Bradley Williams at 157 pounds, who, if you don't know Bradley is, I think he was a seventh grade runner up, a eighth grade runner up, a ninth grade runner up, sophomore runner up, or maybe a sophomore champion, a junior champion. He's been in the state finals every single year that he's like wrestled against high school kids all the way back to seventh grade. He's a senior. He won the weight, but he had to beat an Illinois kid in the finals
I mean, I
in a
remember
tough match.
always somebody coming like that, and I can't wait to preview the Florida boys next week. I think we're going to have a good time with that. Started going through that as well, but there's a tournament that comes up right after our 32 qualifier that's really tough in the Southeast called the Elite Eight, and it's been building and building. And you had some news that we may see a Florida team put together
Yeah,
and go up there and compete. Tell us about.
not not May, man, not May. They are in, and one of the things that's great, just to give you a rundown of kind of what this tournament is. For those of you who don't really know, it's held at the Georgia Convention Center. It is 12 teams, and they're all just all-star teams. I mean, just imagine 12 of the best kids from 100 to 285 pounds, all-star teams, kids from all over the country come in and they wrestle let's see, 8 to 10 duels, depending on how far you get in the tournament, over the course of the weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday. In years past, you've seen Jax Forrest. He was just there last year. Jax Forrest, who will be a freaking world team member, was at Elite Eight last year. Bo Bassett was there last year. We saw Bo Bassett versus Luke Lillendahl in a match, just a regular match. I mean, like
At
it's
the
just
airport.
yeah, at the airport, man. I mean, it's wild. It is wild how good the level of competition is. I have seen kids who are, I mean, Noah Nininger, Bo Hickman, Virginia, and Oklahoma both won um, knockout this past year and did so in style, right? I saw both of those take losses. I mean, I've seen both of them lose multiple matches. Joel Adams out of Nebraska, who was a Greco world champion, I think on day one he had like 3 losses. He was like 2-3 on day one of this tournament, like a couple years ago.
It is loaded.
So anyway, yeah,
With
it's
that being
loaded.
said, who's
That
bringing the
being
team this
said,
year?
Pat Lugo and the Miami Hawks have a team headed from South Florida up to battle against all these hammers. And again, a couple of the teams, Daniel Cormier's team out of California will be there. You have the team called Dynasty, New Jersey, Minion Legends. Again, just a ton of talent from all over the country. And just because you're a Florida kid or an Alabama kid or a Georgia kid or whatever the case is, you don't have to necessarily wrestle for like
Right. They
Miami. They kind of get picked up. They're just free agents. So what Pat's done is he's pulled together obviously some studs from Florida. So up top, he's got the Mako boys, 215 and 285. You
Woo!
want to you want to see Mako, you want to see Michael like possibly get pushed? Well, he's number 3 according to the sheet I'm looking at here. And let's see. Dean Bechtold is number 4 at that weight. Mateo Vinciagera is number 11 at that weight. Um, Mark Effian is number 10 at that weight. These are all kids who will be at the event that Mako will wrestle back to back to back. So, I mean, that's the type of level we're
Wow.
talking about.
So he's got the Mako boys.
He's got the Mako boys right in the middle of the lineup. He's got Giovanni Solis, who, according to this, is wrestling at 138. Amarn Williams wrestling 44, and Calais Nazario up at 57. And I'll tell you what, shout out to Calais because last year he stepped in. So every year Florida has some kids who step in. And 2 years ago, I called Elijah Penton kind of at last minute and said, Elijah, man, there is an opening. You should come up and compete. He came up and competed, knocked off 2 kids who were ranked in the top 10, and like just showed at his level, right? Last year, Calais shows up on a team, and I know that a college that's recruiting him went, oh man, I thought we had somebody who was under the radar nobody would know about. And next thing you know, he comes up and he wrestles great and he's like beating kids. And next thing you know, all these colleges who are in the building are walking over to him and having
Yeah,
conversations
and I think
with him.
that's a big reason why he won his state title this year was those guys at Mater Lakes, whatever it's called, Mater. Um,
Does
JD,
it matter?
yeah, it doesn't matter, Mater, but but JD
It does matter. I'm
and
sorry.
Neifeld took him to some tough stuff. I mean, he had just come off of wrestling CJ Torres in the 32 qualifier. And so the people they had him in front of all season, I think really got him to where he finally got his first.
Well, and this is such a great event. I mean, honestly, if and there's a couple of holes still in some lineups, not very many, but like I see a 6, I see obviously 215s and 285s,
Is
and
his
a
lineup
couple of those.
is Pat's lineup full?
Pat's lineup is full, according to what I have. Now, I will say this,
What's he have at the
and this
lower
is
weight?
just like the Florida Super 32 lineup, or Florida Super 32, or Georgia Super 32. this is totally subject to change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're going to talk about the girls here in a few minutes, and they may not even be there. There were
What
kids.
other
I wrote a preview for Georgia. It
Kids didn't
wasn't.
show up.
Yeah.
what other studs are at the lower weights?
Yeah. So down at the bottom is Leonidas Peraza, at 100 pounds. Now Peraza is he a freshman or eighth grader? Do you guys know?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is.
Leonard
Okay.
Peraza. Is he a freshman or a middle schooler?
I don't know. He's at 100 pounds. So I will
I
say at
can
100
remember.
pounds, I,
He's
yeah,
real
it
good.
doesn't matter.
He's real good.
Down at 106, you got Jake Strickland out of South Carolina. Stud. Austin Brown is at 113. Giovanni Tovar is at 120 pounds. Braden Weaver out of Pennsylvania is at 126. Stud out of California at 132 is CJ Huerta. So again, you pick up different people at different places, and you pull them in, and you want them to get a
Man,
match.
good luck to Pat and his team going out there and
Yeah,
making some noise at Elite Eight. That should be fun to see what he does and see what those kids do.
yeah, and I'll tell you, it's I mean, if you're not used to taking some losses, I mean, that's a whole other ball game, baby. I mean, that is a level that is just unbelievably
Would you say the
good.
level is like a miniature Fargo? The weight
Oh,
class is?
I mean, it's like taking the last 8 kids in a Farco bracket and putting them into a duel and having them wrestle round robin. That's what it's like.
It's awesome.
And the problem is that there's 5 mats going on, and you're looking at mat 2, which has Bo Bassett versus Luke Lillendahl, and then over on mat 3, you have the number 3 and number 8 ranked kid in the country wrestling each other in a 1 point match, and then over here you've got these 2 kids wrestling. I mean, it's a ranked kid versus a ranked kid at almost every single match
I'm kind
all
of
day
torn.
long.
Should I go to Miami, Florida, or should I go to that? It's supposed
I
to
think
be.
you better go to your
I
wife's
think you should take
birthday.
your wife out for her birthday. I don't want
Oh
to
yeah, that's going on
overstep.
too that Saturday.
I don't want to overstep
I
what,
will not
what
be. I will not be party to you making bad decisions. It's going to affect the rest of your life.
Well, speaking of women,
Oh, I thought you were going to say bad decisions.
no. Well, I could have done that too. But speaking of women, let's freestyle. Let's freestyle.
Let's freestyle.
Let's freestyle right into women's folk style, actually, or the Super 32. I know they do folk style freestyle. More, obviously.
And just real quick, just to build off what Jason said and also add a confirmation. Um, these are not guarantees that these wrestlers will be at these weights. There's no guarantee that they will be at this event.
That's
These
right.
are people who have signed up, and I don't know. I don't know when the weight class change and the costs and all that is. So I mean, there could be changes up to when it is, but no guarantee that these will be happening in their weight class. But I did confirm that the Florida Super 32 early entry is closed for everyone. It is full. It's done. Not just boys, no more girls, no more middle school. It is a full stack tournament. They run it so well there. And also, if anyone isn't aware, they had to switch days, and Saturday is now girls in the afternoon, and the boys are wrestling on Sunday. And again, they're splitting up which is what they've done since COVID. You have a morning session and an afternoon session. So the
Which I
first
think is
set,
great,
it,
honestly.
it makes it so much faster and better for a better experience for the people there. So the first 7 weight classes are at 8 a.m. The second 7 weight classes are at 2 p.m.
Well, and we're going to
around
talk a little bit in a little bit greater detail next week when we preview
on
the boys because their brackets are much larger. There's
Oh,
many
yes.
more kids and that sort of thing. We're going to wait till next week. But I'll tell you what, just very briefly, this was a banger of a tournament last year,
Yeah.
both on the girls' side and the boys' side. And I'll tell you what, I as I look down the list, and Dan got all excited. He's now like learned how to use Excel. He's
Yes.
doing a little research.
And Google Sheets.
And,
You'll
and-
never convert me to Google Sheets.
Me either.
That's a devil's playground. I'm Excel.
Hey now, that wasn't very nice.
But I will say, like, the level of competition is just always super, super good. It is just super, super good. And
And really,
I'm
one of the fun things about the girl side is they do folk style and freestyle,
yeah.
and it was just remembered this and remember when it happened also. But they you different results. And someone wins folk style, and then the girl they beat in the final beats them in the final of freestyle. So it's
Well,
lots
it's
of different things to look at and watch there because they will compete both of them. Not everybody does both, but they will compete both on Saturday uh,
yeah.
for this tournament.
Well, and I just want to like so I was saying it before, and I mean, you look at it, Paola Perez, Anaya Wayne, Maya Alvarado, who will be in a tough weight this at
Yeah,
Florida Super 32. Brianna Higgins, who is a state champ in Georgia, Camden Elliott, Emma Bachnight, Beyonce Espinoza, Willow White. If you know the girls that
Yeah.
are really talented in the state of Florida or in lower Georgia, which is Brianna Higgins,
Oh yeah.
those are the girls that won this tournament a year ago. So
Listen,
that tells you the level
I'm
of
telling you,
competition.
one girl that I was very proud of last year is Yuri Caceres. I watched her in Puerto Rico. She lost a 2 out of 3 to make the world team, right? She was heartbroken. Then we come home. I watched her at Super 32. She didn't even place. I had a talk with her on the side of the match. She was just down on herself. Well, she went to work and she ended up
she
winning the state
before that
title.
she quit for a week or
Yep.
two. Also, I mean,
Yeah, she
she
was
was
just
she really had to
devastated.
find herself even during the season.
And for
And
her to come back full circle and win the state title, good for that young lady. She's a really super nice young lady, and
she'll be here
she will be
hopefully
here.
on the
And she's in
in
a
the 100.
weight at 100 that is pretty loaded. I mean, it's pretty loaded from top to bottom. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Cabra ranked kids. You can
Well,
see the rankings every Tuesday at Cabra
we can see them
Wrestling.
every day, but they are updated every
But
Tuesday.
oh,
They
I
oh,
go
don't
up for
put them up
24
and take them
hours, they get pulled
down.
down.
yeah.
Trust me, I get emails every day
They're
about them. So
updated every Tuesday. I
updated
apologize.
every
You can
Tuesday.
see them every day. But yeah, and you have Yuri Casares in there and Anaya Wayne, who were both state placers this year. One was the champ, one was sixth. You've got you've got a young lady in Riley Bevel who's had a hell of a summer.
Yes,
She's wrestling out of Cocoa Beach. She was
seventh grader, and
seventh grader. I mean, at the summer knockout, she was 4-2 with Higgins before Higgins caught her and pinned her. But she was wrestling baby Higgins pretty tough. I'm excited to see what she does. But yeah, you've got
Well,
obviously
you
number
got
one,
Tiffany
number
Francisco
five.
at that weight,
You got
who I think is super
Francisco
good.
who's
Gonzalez.
had a busy summer,
I
in,
mean, Kimberly
including
Picado.
Fargo and competing a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, just Valerie Carute. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
lots of studs.
it's a great weight. Is it the best weight?
No,
No.
I
All
mean,
right.
if you're talking the one that stopped the presses, no, I don't think it's quite there.
I
But
No.
agree with
it's
that.
intriguing, and the thought to see like the veteran Caceres against the young upstart Beville at some point along the way
Yes.
is intriguing in
It's
100, and
exciting.
also to see girls like Anaiwe, like you said, who's a state placer, see how much she's gotten better. Those are intriguing, but I don't believe it's the best weight.
All right. So what is the best weight? And I know we'll have to skip a weight or two, but what is the best weight in your opinion, Brant?
Oh boy, I went back and forth on this between 105 and 110 just in my first look see through it
Man,
last night.
don't sleep on 130.
Oh, you'll have your chance. I
I'm
had
sorry.
All right. So tell me,
I probably would say I would probably oh man. So
I
just
think it's
the
110. So why don't
105
you
has
give
Brianna Higgins, has Jocelyn Johnson, has Kiara Partello. Those are all either state champs or state finalists. 110 has Maya Alvarado, Camden Elliott, and Kendall Haney, amongst others. I mean, those are just the ones that I highlighted. There's so much more in each one. I probably would go 110, but it's close between those two, I think.
Yeah, I just like the potential between Haney, Alvarado, Elliott, and then I mean you've got Zoe McDonald in there, you've got Emerson Weber in there. You'll get a chance to see where Ewan Reeves is as it relates to it. And
Zoe
you know,
Bird,
one of the other things I really like when I look down on some of these names is I see a Torea Kroom at 105 pounds. I see a Addison Neufeld at 100 pounds.
yes,
Those are names you know because of
very well.
brothers, right?
While Neufeld has wrestled for the past 2 years and competes on the boys' side.
Oh, okay. All right.
So she's competed in districts the last 2 years for North Bay Haven, but competes on the boys' side. I don't know if that will change, um, but she has wrestled the last. So I know her name. But
Well,
yeah, it's a
Well, but you
family.
know
It's a
everybody's
family
name.
name we know too. I don't know everyone, but she has competed. I believe the last 2 seasons on the boys'
well,
side.
and you have you probably know this name coming out of South Carolina in Nova Estrada. I mean, the
Hmm.
family blood runs
Yeah.
deep on the girls' side, and she's coming in at 115. Man, could she slide down to 110? Could we get her in the mix there? Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Yeah,
But
and I think Nova, if I remember correctly, back when her sister was wrestling, I think she was maybe a seventh grader or something like that. So she might only be a freshman this year,
Yeah.
up in the Panhandle. So, you know, definitely one to watch. Before we go to 115, though, Dan, you mentioned 130. Why 130 for you? What was 130? What was great about it?
well, I mean, according to the Cabra rankings,
Yes. Every Tuesday.
every
Sign up
Tuesday
now. I
there's
have a deal
four.
starting
They'll
this week.
only be up for 24 hours, though.
24 hours a day,
Right.
7 days a week. But other than
So
that,
you've got four state, well, five
remember, they're worthless though.
five state placers if because you've got your Shamari Smith up there, which is well, she's number two at 135. If she stays at 130, I mean that's going to be crazy. But you got four, possibly five there. You also have young ladies like Michaela,
Shamari Smith it was told to me that she will be wrestling the 135 during the
yeah,
season. Just so you know.
and then going through this 130, I'm looking here. I mean, you have some young girls in here, for example, like a Michaela Vega who's been wrestling all off season, who is going to be new to the high school level, and she's had a real good summer. She wrestled everywhere. You've got, I mean,
You got state placers in Isis Estes Brinson from my
Yep.
alma mater, my Palmetto. You have Taylor Pelchat from St. Augustine, a state placer.
right,
In this one, you have Abigail Moyer, a state placer from a year ago in this weight class.
yeah.
So
So I mean, that's just, I mean, between Moyer and Pelchat Ramirez, I mean, young girls like Vega and Sotomayor and
So,
like that coming up. There's just it seems like a tough weight.
so one of the things that stands out to me when I was looking through this, and this is not a Florida specific thing. In fact, it's a Georgia specific thing. But I wasn't sure how much this was in Florida as well, and that's the reason I'm going to bring it up. And that is, in years past, Camden. So if you look at the thing, Camden County Outsiders is Camden County,
yes,
Georgia, and Camden County, Georgia has Brianna Higgins, and she's an absolute hammer. Um, and they are a super talented team, on the boys' side. But as I look through this list, they have a girl at nearly every weight, at least down
yeah,
low. And that is not something they've had in years past. And I love to see schools or whatever really begin to develop
yeah,
their program, and everything else. And I'll tell you what, if Camden can get the development like they're getting on the boys' side or with Brianna
yeah.
Higgins, man, you better watch out. They'll be freaking running the table in both boys and girls in the state of Georgia.
Oh yeah, and I mean, even I know we're jumping around here, but like 115, two girls. I know last year McIntosh was hurt for some of the season, and so that probably is maybe the reason she's not up in the rankings. But Juliana Mills has had a hell of an off season. She's wrestled really tough. I think we're going to see her. in my opinion, maybe she should be there already.
Yeah.
But
So for me, 115 is really interesting because
she's going to come
it
up.
doesn't have a Camden Elliott or a Maya
Yeah.
Right.
Alvarado or somebody
Juliana
else,
Mills could surprise some people
and
there.
it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I
There's no
think,
favorite going in, but there's
right. Well, I
no
mean,
lacking of talent. There's just no
Nova,
favorite.
yeah, I mean Nova Estrada. If people have been watching what what that family has done on the women's side, I think people would lean towards her in this weight. But a girl like Juliana Mills, if she gets hot at the right time, I mean, you've got a
Or
lot of
somebody else we don't even talk
really,
about.
yeah. I mean, you've got some ranked kids. A number 8 girl, Jessie Griffin. So yeah, I mean, this is
All right, so Brant, let's flip to you. Let's take a different weight. What's another weight that you're interested in?
Let's see. I marked off 190 of some as one I want to watch, not as deep for
Yeah, but
this.
let's talk about it.
But you've got Latoya Silvestre, you have Michaela Ocean, who we talked about. Um, the three of us talked
Hmm.
about before we even started recording. She's had such a great summer without Fargo. Hazuki Sykes,
Hmm.
who wrestled 235, is down at 190. The three of them, um, you have Zeta Bell, uh, who has wrestled well for Lincoln. I'm seeing who else in it, but I mean that's
and
it's like I said,
Karina
it's not a deep.
Rushing.
There's only eight girls in it or
Rushing
nine
is
girls.
signed up at 170, but if she slides up to 190, wow, what a weight class, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's a small one, but I think it's a really intriguing one with those girls,
Yeah, no
and really
doubt,
and a
no
chance
doubt.
for Ocean to really prove me wrong because as Dan rightly pointed out before the show, I probably don't have her ranked as high as she deserves just for the summer she's had.
Well, thank you.
Well, I told you I'd give you credit when you proved me wrong.
So if
You
you
could
were to,
get a sticker, man. You
Yeah,
get a
I'll send you a
sticker.
stick. I'll give you a sticker.
I need one. So let me
Uh,
ask you guys this question, and
yeah.
I'll ask you first, Jason. Looking at these weights, I mean, we have some obvious names that you would look at and say, okay, they're gonna make a run. What
Mhm.
what are some names, one or more names that you see that maybe aren't ranked or ranked low or might surprise you?
So I think that's probably more a question for Brant than it is for me, but I will take a shot in that. So like I look at 120 in that I see Cam Lord, I see Savannah Porter. I obviously know those names from Fargo and everything else. I will say though, folk style's a different beast, and we're in folk style season. Now, everybody, if you don't know this, Super 32 in North Carolina is freestyle. It is they are wrestling freestyle. So, and Brant made mention earlier about how you could have the same two girls in the finals and we'll get different results depending on whether you're wrestling freestyle or folk style. So,
And I think
um,
that's why you see girls like Bowie and Gallo only signed up for freestyle.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
So
Well, I
who's your
mean,
girl?
I just don't know how hard it is to kind of flip back and forth. I mean, I've never done it. Like, and we've never wrestled. I don't think I ever wrestled in the same tournament when I had, like the same day doing folk style and this, and then freestyle that same day.
Would it be
Um,
easier if I asked you the question this way? What are some girls in here that are not Floridians, that are coming from out of state that you're familiar with that you think could shock the system?
so the truth is there are not very many girls from
Yeah.
out of state. The one girls that
And the
are from
ones
out
that
of state
we kind of know.
are Camden, and we certainly know Brianna Higgins.
Yeah.
Well, she's been
But I
wrestling
will tell you, I
little.
am super interested in what I said previously, and that is Peyton Rago from Camden County at 110 pounds. You've got other girls that are also from Camden County who I think they will give me a very good sense of whether Camden County will have something to say this year or not. Because if these girls can go down and compete with the level of competition in Florida, there's no reason why they can't go back up to Georgia and compete very, very well.
I'll ask
And
you the
I'll say
same
it not just
question, Brent.
because she has a great last name and shares it with my youngest, but Tegan Robinson. who
Hmm.
wrestled well here last year from Alabama. That's an out of state person to watch.
So as far as in Florida, in this thing, somebody that maybe you don't have in the rankings or you have down in the bottom of the rankings, someone that you think either you're excited to see what they can do or they could that
I
top
mean,
four.
my goodness, there's so many. I haven't really picked that one. I'm gonna pick someone who's the top of my rankings, but one I'm excited to see Russell, Ariana Antonu, from
Hmm.
Eastlake. She's number one. She placed fifth last year. She's in a weight class that graduated six of the eight placers, I think, from last year to all the top four. So she kind of became number one by uh, not by default, but she's the top
Well, I
returning
mean,
state placer coming
attrition,
back.
right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I want to see, and she's wrestled well. I mean, she's had a great summer, and she at the Disney, she was 11-0. At the SummerSlam, she was 5-0. She went to Fargo. I mean, she's a very good wrestler, but she's going to get a chance. I'll get a chance now to see her as she's becoming the hunted now instead of one of the hunters. So I'm curious in that. And then if you want me to pick someone in there who maybe isn't ranked as high, um, Saria Franco from Cypress Creek has a busy summer. Went 10-1 at Disney. Do we still call it Disney since it's in Fort Lauderdale? Whatever we call it, AAU.
Well,
Um,
you know what? I was told it was should never have been called Disney, and I'm like, you guys, whatever. No, it was
it's like
always
the
called
smartest
Disney.
thing
It
they ever
will
did was
always
call it
be called
Disney.
Disney.
Yeah. Could
Whatever
you
it's
imagine
called.
USA Wrestling coming out and saying, don't call it
The
Fargo?
tournament
Right.
formerly known as Disney. She
No,
was
Don't
that's
10 and
call
so
it.
1
dumb.
there. So there's one for you that's in the middle of my rankings of someone to watch who's had a quality summer. But there's a ton of them on here.
I
If
mean,
I
there's
went
a
through
ton
each
of
one,
like
I
I
could
really
find
want to
more.
see as great as Riley Bevel's been wrestling. I want to see if she has the horsepower to go with Caceres and Wayne. Um, I know when I talked to Chris, she's obviously making a bunch of strides. The thing that we're going to find out this year is, does she have the horsepower yet? And I'm excited because the wrestling skill is there. So I'm excited to see her compete with those two. Um, and there's some other people in that weight class that she's going to have to wrestle. I mean, a Lydia Gonzalez coming up from Gladiator is going to be a tough girl.
So I'm glad you brought that up because for me, and Gladiator is what I was referring to. You can't do a preview and not talk about one of the best in the state, and that is Willow White.
Yes.
Um, we've talked about Camden Elliott, Jocelyn Johnson, we've dropped some names here and there, but Willow White is definitely amongst that group. And you know what?
A
Brant's number
very
one
small
team
125. Anyway, go on.
Brandt's number one team, at least right now, is South Dade. And if you look down the list, Gladiator has a lot of
A lot
girls
of
on
them right
this
here.
list,
Yep.
and they have a lot of girls who you may not know a whole lot about. And you will learn a lot about them this weekend with the level of competition.
And one of the coaches I talked to was Coach Duran, who I've already talked to this year, and they have been building for this. And even last year, you could even say there was some disappointment in state. They ended up winning district again. They're 4 for 4. They won region big time, but then I think a 10th place finish, ninth place finish. This is going to be a key for them because some of these girls, not Willow, because we know what we're going to get from her, but some of these girls, this is a chance for them to start testing themselves to see if they're ready to carry that mantle. Because based on what I project, they are. But now we're going to see kind of that development if it still grows. And he says they have the game plan there. They know how to do it at South Dade. They're following that. This is kind of that next step, and to see so many of them here, you're right. That is something interesting to watch. We're going to
Yeah,
see them wrestle some girls around the same spot, like in the rankings, where you would maybe, in a state tournament, could be the difference between 10 points and 0 points. And we'll start seeing that
Well,
this
that
in
could be
this tournament
huge.
and
you
and
know,
and
some
see
somebody
how
I'd
much they've
love to see.
developed.
Somebody I'd love to see if she continues on the momentum is Kiera Partello. Man, I watched her at Fargo, and the run she
No
at
doubt.
Fargo
Very good
was
wrestler.
unbelievable. And I mean, you've got Brianna Higgins, you've got Jocelyn Johnson, Gabriella Kerber, and Kiera Partello all at the same weight.
Yeah.
And this is going to be
And then on freestyle, is Gallo at 105 too, or is she
this is going to be
no,
fun.
she's at 118. But yeah, so there's
And then as deep as 100 is, then you add Bowie in when they flip over to
yeah.
freestyle.
No, again, I think that it'll be really interesting if someone that is maybe lower in the rankings for Brant or someone you don't really know as much of about is able to make the top four down at 100 or 105 or 110 or one
Yeah.
of those. You should pay
That's gonna be
attention
something.
because
Yeah.
that's going to be really hard to make the top four unless you're a returning state placer down at those
And
weights.
you know,
Now,
I
And
know
I
we're
don't know if that has
talking,
anything to do with Super 32 girl side. I don't know if they have the same restrictions
but I
as
know we've been talking
getting
about.
in.
I mean, I know we've been talking about folk style, but basically a lot of these girls, they're wrestling both. But if you flip over to the freestyle side and you look at the one, two, three, four, five girls that are wrestling at 95 pounds, Gonzalez, Morales, Neifeld, Rios, and Thomas. I mean, if that ends up being a round robin, that's going to be a fun round robin to watch.
Yes.
Those little girls are tough as nails. And then, of course, now you add Bowie into the mix at 100, which will shake up that weight, and she's tough, obviously. But
yeah, no, it's such a really good weekend. I mean, honestly, we started this little preview and we didn't go into depth and we didn't, talk about everyone. Um, but you just look at last year's results and you can see the level of competition that exists and you have that again this week. And honestly, up at I think it was at what in freestyle or in folk style, up at I mean at 100 pounds, 110 pounds, 130 pounds, you have more than 20 girls. You're gonna have to fight your way through a bracket to be able to get
I mean,
to that
holy
finals.
crap. I mean, I'm sorry, I just keep going all over the place. This is crazy. Wrestling. Oh,
Shiny object, shiny object. Anyway, go.
118 at freestyle. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? 118 at freestyle? Holy moly. Estrada, Fuentes, Gallo, Lord, McIntosh, Mills, Velasco, Whitlock,
Whitelock.
Whitelock.
Yeah. Yeah,
Holy
Whitlock. Hmm.
Nikes. And then you've got the Camden girls up there with Kyrie. Wow.
All
I'll
right, guys. So
that.
just
And
to give
just a
everybody
clear also,
context here.
this is
Woo!
the week from now. This weekend coming up, you do have some juggernauts: Palm Bay, Wellington, Bradenton, um,
That's right.
Somerset College Preparatory Academy South in Miami has an event this weekend. Super 32 is actually 10 days from now or whatever it is.
That's okay. Those tournaments
I just want
That's
to clear
right.
to
But we
people
couldn't do
watching us
this and the
who are like,
boys in the
hey, you
same
told
week.
me this was happening on Saturday. And we're like, no, it's the next Saturday.
also, by the way,
Next
there
Saturday.
is a Super 32 prep camp going on over at LHP, Spartan RTC. So get into that. That'll get you a lot of work going
Yep.
to Super 32. Obviously, a lot of the best wrestlers from around the way will be there. So if you're looking to get some work and be tough, that's going to be a place to go. And I think it happened this past week. I know Pat had a 32 prep camp going on, but I think it happened. I think we're past that. So
You
yeah.
know what? There's a ton going on. There's a ton of stuff
Yes,
happening,
it's happening. I've
and
got
it's
5 interviews in the next 2 hours. So
Oh,
it's all fun.
all right. Hey, you gonna tell us who you have, or you can give us
Jason
a
has
hint
turned
of
into
any
Darth
particular
Vader.
one?
I can tell if you vamp for about 15 seconds, I can tell you who I have coming up today.
Well,
I don't
that's
hear
Dan's
any
specialty.
vamping.
Vamp.
Vamping, Dan.
Well, you're frozen.
Vamp.
Who's frozen?
Oh, is he frozen for you? He's not frozen for me.
Oh, you're
Jason's
frozen.
frozen. Jason, it says that your
Oh,
bandwidth
I'm
is
frozen.
low.
No,
Oh man.
you're like one of those old karate movies. We hear your voice and then your lips move. So it's like, hey, what are you doing? That's how that works. Yeah.
All right.
Now
Well,
I'm talking to Blaine today, St. John Newman. I'm talking to uh, Interlochen, Wakula, Creekside, and Sun Lake girls
Oh,
today.
shout out to Blaine. He sent me a picture yesterday. He bought a Ward Wrestling hat. He was showing it off. Yeah, what's up, Blaine? Good job. Thank you.
Oh my God. You know the thing I love about that, Brant, is you're
Yes,
interviewing, like Interlochen, right?
yes,
Interlochen doesn't. I mean,
everyone.
we don't really know. I think it's so awesome that you're able to reach out and talk to every single one
I will talk to every single coach that sends me
that
info
will
and
talk to
signs
you.
up, and that will talk to me, and I will talk to them the same amount of time, 10 to 15 minutes every coach, and I will ask each coach like they're preparing for the same goals, because I want to promote Interlochen as much as I want to promote St. John Newman. And
Absolutely,
sometimes Interlochen teams get lost once the season starts because
they do. They
it's
do,
so.
and
But
that's
I want it, the kids they have wrestling. I want them to have a capsule. I want them to have their name, and I want their coach to say things about those kids, and they can read it. And so yeah,
all
You want
right,
to say
gentlemen.
nice things?
I don't write anything negative.
No, we leave that to you, Dan. If you're
Because
gonna
what?
get thrown, you better not
No,
get thrown,
it's
or I'm gonna
not
do you dirty.
negative. It's not negative. It's just you're number 17 and you should be 6.
They're
All
just
right,
worthless rankings
guys.
anyway.
Next week, boys Super 32.
Crap.
Boys
Yes.
Super 32 qualifier, Florida.
Yes.
Well, we're having a good time here, and I'm just looking for my cursor so I can say